You're listening to Ask When, the podcast. Folks from all walks of life talk about their daily hustle and bustle, living and celebrating life, sharing tips on becoming champions, especially for those who are muscling mental and physical disabilities. Ask When, the podcast, with your host who has mustered over 30 years living with cerebral palsy and going strong. Author and cerebral palsy advocate Wynn Charles. Ask When, the podcast starts right now.
Welcome to Ask When, everyone. This afternoon I have Caroline with me, and I am going to let Miss Carolyn take it away and explain more about her, and then we'll just have the natural conversation like we always do despite coronavirus. And yeah.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much, Wynn, for having me on. My name is Carolyn O'Neill. I'm a stoked or empowerment coach and business strategist for emerging female entrepreneurs. I am a firm believer that you change your mind, you can change your life. And so I help discover and uncover some of the, hidden gems that are blocking people in like turning themselves into the person that they want themselves to be, and to stepping into that higher self that is going to allow them to achieve that bigger dream of theirs. And I'm really excited. I'm super stoked to be here. So thanks, Wynn, for having me on.
Well, excellent. And to those of you that don't know, I quit my job by my own choosing. I kind of lost my job, kind of quit my job because they weren't prepared for what and coronavirus, and they didn't have a plan. So I said, bye, guys. So I'm a motivational speaker / published author, and I am on tapping my hidden gems. Carolyn, you mentioned hidden gems, and now I'm slowly but surely untapping my hidden gems to raise awareness about cerebral palsy.
That is so amazing. Yeah, I love using the word hidden gem instead of like the zone of genius, because like a gemstone, like a diamond, right? It takes time and a lot of pressure. And I really feel that is kind of us in an entrepreneurial mindset, because we all have bigger dreams, but it's that gap from where we are to where we want to go that it takes a lot of like pressure and time. But at the end of it, with the right mindset and the right, mentorship, you're able to, be guided along the way. So what took me probably 3 years of falling down and scraping my knees, it would only take, about 3 to 6 months for some people. So that's why I'm a huge believer in mentorship. And I do also have a 6-month coaching methodology and program called the Stoked Approach. And so it's funny, back before I was doing this coaching business, I was a competitive snowboarder, and I know that you're out in Colorado, Wynn. And
oh yes,
spent a lot of time out there. And
Colorado.
And it's one of those wonderful things where I took the word stoked because it's been in my lexicon since I was 19, and I started a nonprofit back in the day when out in Seattle, Washington, called Manifest, and it was a big ski snowboard music festival that raised money for breast cancer. And I've kind of gone this whole full circle route where in my 20s I pretty much did not care what other people thought, and I just wanted to compete in snowboarding and work in the industry. And my ultimate dream was to become a professional snowboarder. But the universe had another plan for me, which was I broke a lot of things. And then in my 30s, I left Seattle, went back to Montana, and kind of went towards that societal norm, which was, 29. They're like, you should buy a house, you should settle down, you should get a job. And so I was like, all right, well, sounds like a plan. So I did. And, about 6 years later, I was so unhappy, and, I was making, decent money. And I was just like, my things around me, I understood that like I was looking at external validation to have internal self-worth. I didn't really know what I wanted anymore. For me personally, I kind of succumbed to some of those negative coping mechanisms when I didn't know really how to deal with my life and subtle devastations, especially like disappointments. And so fast forward to a few years ago, I kind of pulled my head out of my rear end and really did make a decision that I wanted to change my life and I wanted to live a different way. And that's when I began coaching. And, it's been full speed ahead. And like you, and it's kind of like opportunities will kind of arise in our lifetime, but unless we're awake and aware and take advantage of them, it's really advantageous to kind of walk through that fear, not over it, around it, underneath it. You kind of have to be like, all right, if this is what I want to do, like the opportunities are endless. So
Yes. You can't walk through fear. You can't walk around fear. You can't jump over fear. You need to face fear head on.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Use and the analogy that Gillen was trying to say was from a childhood book by the name of, I think it was Little Bear, meaning that you can't jump over fear, you can't walk by fear, you need to face it head on. And so I believe it too. I mean, being a solo entrepreneur for me is the scariest thing, and we'll make it work. But I'm so happy to be doing what I'm doing, and now I'm just trying to make an income off of it. But the income will come later. The joys of interviewing awesome people like Gillen and the thousands of others that I've been blessed enough to interview on Ask Lynn makes the income worth it to what I was getting paid as a teacher. And so, yep, here we go. Took the leap of faith because of all world circumstances right now.
Absolutely. And I love words. I think there's a lot of power behind words and the words that we use. And so like success and freedom, that like my definition of those two words is going to be so different from yours and from somebody that I'm coaching or somebody I'm speaking with. And the cool thing about entrepreneurship is when we do make this decision and then commit to that decision, right, is we get to make like our future what we want it to be. We get to invent what success looks like. And at first I think a lot of times we compare ourselves to other people that are successful in the monetary sense, but like success for me when I was just starting out was like getting up and making my own schedule, like really being the arbiter of my own creation and like seeing it through from concept through creation to implementation. I mean, that is successful, and it's all under my my awareness and control. Like, it's pretty amazing, right? And you get to, I'm sure that you've met so many people that you would not otherwise have met if you hadn't have started your podcast, right?
I have. I mean, I have interviewed, and I have interviewed fitness trainers. I have interviewed solo entrepreneurs. I have interviewed people with disabilities. I have interviewed, the list goes on and on. And without the power of this podcast, I wouldn't have met the amazing people that I have and now in my Rolodex that I can call friends and the amazing people that follow me.
Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? I just think that's so amazing.
Yeah, I do too. And so, Carolyn, would you give my listeners and myself a glimpse into your routine and morning rituals, pre-coronavirus and post-coronavirus? Thank you very much.
Oh, what a lovely question. It's really easy for me to answer that because although we are in this different climate, I'm a huge fan of like pivoting from panic to productivity. So my routine hasn't changed. My life hasn't changed all that drastically in this climate, but my morning routine, and I am a huge believer, and I tell my clients this like emphatically, is that creating a routine in the morning will prime yourself for the rest of the day, for the week, and for your future. So in my program, I call it Prime Your Pump of Joy. And that's basically taking time, whatever that looks like for you, in the morning, because when we can calibrate our mind in the right way when we wake up, the productivity is, in my case, and the folks that I coach, it can increase by like 75 to 85%. So what I do personally is I try not to hit snooze. It's been a habit I've been trying to break. Am I always successful? No, but you got to try and try. And the world's not perfect. So I try not to hit snooze. The first thing I do is I go to my knees, and then I have a dog who's a little bit old and arthritic, so I make sure I give her some love. I check in with the universe and my higher power and give thanks. And then it's tea. It's taking my dog for a walk, connecting with nature. And I've already planned my week, usually the night before and the week before. So then when I'm ready to sit down at my, laptop, desktop, whatever, I have complete direction of what I'm going to tackle for that day. So I don't sit in hesitation. Everything that I do is intentional and on purpose. So the morning routine really is being disciplined, not to hit snooze, waking up, giving thanks to my furry creature and the universe, and connecting with nature is a huge one for me. So going out for a walk, making tea, and then checking in with my week and what I have to tackle for the day. And then when I was able to go out, I was definitely waking up earlier and going to the gym at like 5:30 because it's a whole mind, body, spirit thing, right? So if my mind's good but my body's bad, I'm going to think about how my body's bad, and it takes away the energy from my mind. And if I don't have a connection with like some sort of universal energy, then my mind's going to play tricks on me, and then plus I'm not going to be able to work out my body because that is lacking. So it's like a triangle of awesome, and I need to have three, and I think they're very important for all of us to understand. Mind, body, and spirit are all cohesive ingredients for like a successful being. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And it's even more important now, you guys, because you guys and me included, my laptop is downstairs and my lunch is upstairs, and my lunch has a huge window looking out at my backyard, which used to be bigger in the 90s, but we put a deck on the side of my house. For those of you that know a gentleman's sleeping porch, that's what we have. And so when I'm able to go outside, I'm waiting for the snow to melt. And so when it's warm enough, I'll be sitting out on that deck, because that deck is going to be my saving grace. And
lovely.
now seeing the sun out the window is a saving grace also. The only reason why I'm not getting outside is because I have trouble with my feet due to cerebral palsy, and so I want the snow to melt, and that is why. Other than that, I would be getting outside more times than not.
Yes. Well, outside is a big deal, and I'm originally from Montana, so I understand the snow situation, having it melt. I think last year in Montana when I was up there, it was like 40 below.
Yes. No, it's snow, and the situation now is not a good mix, but it will be a good mix in the next couple of weeks. So, Carolyn, if your best friend was going to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Gosh, probably boards, booze, and boardrooms. And I'm also I'm an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I give back to that community. And the boards, the booze, and the boardrooms is kind of a trajectory of my life, and three little snippets. So boards was like snowboarding and that industry that I lived in my 20s. And then the booze is how, when we don't have the right coping mechanisms or the way to handle life on life's terms, what happens when you succumb to living a devastated life. And boardrooms is my life presently, which is, being my own boss and creating my own future.
Well, it's lovely. And I've been dry and sober since July. I did that cold turkey. I gave up wine and I gave coffee, you guys. And
oh my goodness, that's the double whammy.
Just say, yeah, but due to life circumstances, which happened, I lost my dad, and I am following in the footsteps of my dad. He gave up alcohol a long time ago, and he did it cold turkey. And the day he got diagnosed with lung cancer, I went down the path of alcohol, and then it didn't sit well with me, and so I decided to give it up. And so I've been dry and sober. He died in May, and the last drink I had was on my 31st birthday because my life had changed, and then I decided, no, we're not doing this with cerebral palsy. We're not doing the wine thing with cerebral palsy. So I've been dry and sober, and actively more active in my life because of me being dry and sober since July.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, congratulations. When it's one of those things where you don't know what's happening until it's kind of too late. In my circumstance, and it's never really too late. I should correct that statement. But it shows me the power of decision, and I'm a huge believer myself, and this is what I coach a lot of my mindset clients, is that once we make a decision to change our lives in whatever direction, or we make these choices, because we do have the ability to make these different choices, and once we decide, then we make a commitment to ourselves. And when we are honoring those commitments to ourselves, that's actually how we gain some confidence and clarity in the things that we want. And alcohol for me, it was my favorite thing to do. I loved drinking, and it worked really well until it didn't. And a lot of times when we are in this overwhelming atmosphere, whatever that situation is in particular for an individual, we tend to buffer, and buffering can come through, alcohol or drugs or food or Netflix. I mean, anything that we're doing in copious amounts to kind of buffer how we're actually feeling is, it's not sustainable, obviously, and it's really inhibiting us to step into the light of our higher selves. So the fact that you did the whole cold turkey thing is incredible, and looks like you had a roundabout way of circumstances happening that kind of made you a little bit more awake and aware of making different decisions for your life moving forward, which I think is gorgeous.
Yes. I had a roundabout way of doing it, but all in all, it's the best decision I have ever made, and due to what situation we're going on now, I am still sober, and
Yeah.
I will be sober until I get out of lockdown, and it will. It's the best decision I ever made. My liver is thanking me every day because I'm not putting 2 glasses of wine in me. And
Yeah.
granted, I did it after my mom died. I stopped when my dad died, and I shouldn't have ever, now looking back on it, I shouldn't have ever picked up the bottle myself, because me and the bottle and my neurological condition didn't mix, didn't mix. And it didn't make me feel so great in the mornings either. And so Caroline knows exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, how are you supposed to get up and functioning if you're hungover? Let's just say that. And yeah, didn't mix. Cerebral palsy and wine did not mix. And so I am clean, I am sober, I'm happier because of it.
Well, yeah, and it's like my over drinking absolutely kicked off after I shattered my heel in 2011. And I've been an athlete my entire life, and so it took me about 3 or 4 years to learn how to like walk again, let alone I still can't run. And so that there was a whole lot of things going on mentally and also physically with me, and I was using alcohol to kind of numb the pain like physically, but then it turned into really numbing the mental pain that I was in of, I'm never going to run again. I'm never going to be able to snowboard again. I was catastrophizing all of these things that hadn't really happened. And so one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about working with other women when it comes to building their businesses and mindset is such a key, like it's a key strategy. So like mindset is a business strategy, because every new level that we're going to be at in our business, it's all going to kind of come back to how we are exercising our own mindset. And for me and for like my clients, when we are like, it takes us a certain amount of confidence to make that decision, right? But it's going to take a whole another kind of confidence to up level our lives and grow our businesses, because I'm sure that you've witnessed when you started the business versus having some successes in business, like the problems might be different, but you kind of are still confronting the same realities or challenges, if that makes sense.
Yes. And now that I kicked my day job out of the way, I can not only focus on my business, but focus on my journalism degree. I mean, geez, at one point I was juggling three balls, yeah. And I'm like, something got to give. So even though we're dealing with a trying time right now, I was reading something on LinkedIn before I got on this call, and the person said, "Is coronavirus the best time to make a career move?" And the answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
You have all this time to plan, and you have the valuable resource of me interviewing people. And so take me and spin me around the block. I don't care to spin ass and win around the block, and let Kellen and I be your inspirations.
Absolutely. Like now is the time period to start a business, because all you have is extra time. And that's one of the biggest objections that I get, is that if somebody has a side hustle and they're not ready to kind of step into doing this full time, which I totally understand that has to be a personal choice. However, it removes that objection, right? Because all we have is time now. I don't know about you, Lynn, but I think that this coronavirus thing, this pandemic, I see a couple gorgeous pieces out of it. One, we have the entire globe, the state of humanity is experiencing at some level the similar experience, right? And that's on a global scale. And I don't think any time in our history in the modern age that we've been in that kind of circumstance. And then two, it's going to blow up and shift old structures and paradigms and way of doing business and way that we think about doing business. And there's nothing but opportunity in my perspective, at this time right now. And I think on the other side of this, whenever that may be, and I'm a firm believer that this is not the end of the world. This is just probably Mother Nature, the universe, whoever you believe in that's outside of yourself is like a recalibration of humanity. Like we are really needing to focus on connections with one another. And I think that currency is going to transform from corporatization to really like human connection. And what is our value and what are we offering to one another as like human beings being human on this planet? So I'm excited.
And so my next question is, if you had moved house and you can only take 3 things, what would they be?
It would be my dog. It would be like a sketch pad because I used to draw a bunch, and my guitar.
So odds and animals. Odds
Yeah.
and then animals. How cool is that? And so if you could ask me anything as we wrap this interview up, what would it be?
What do you think are the top 3 most important aspects of your mindset? Because, well, let me try that again. What are the 3 keys that you want to tell people when it comes to mindset and when people are struggling to kind of get over and go through that fear?
Well, mantra is really important to me. And over the weekend, I wasn't listening to the universe, so the universe sent me flying, and I literally cracked my head open because the universe said, "Okay, if you're not listening to us, and we're trying to get you to slow down and take care of yourself, we're going to send you flying." And so I literally hit my head on a piece of wood. And yeah, so mantras are key. And during my wound care, I said a mantra and I repeated that to myself as I held a towel over my head to make sure that the incident was controlled. But because if I cried, it would have made it worse. So I said the mantra and got myself semi aware to it. And then this is going to sound very cliche to the point of everyone knows my legal name is Win, so therefore my winning attitude, and that's going to sound really cliche because I'm like, okay, that's my winning attitude for almost 32 years now. And so, and the other key mindset is when you don't feel like it, don't do it. Don't force yourself to do something that you don't love and enjoy. And that's the key mindset. If you're stuck in a job, and I'm sorry for those of you on the front lines right now, but if you're stuck in a job and have the opportunity to be working from home and you're stuck in a job that you don't like, change your job and move on to something else you do like. because now is the time to be changing jobs, and now is the time to do it.
Right. Make that decision and commit. I love it.
Yeah, make that decision and commit. So, Carolyn, where can people find you?
You can go to my website at dreambiggerdigital.com, and you can find me in Facebook, of course, at dreambiggerdigital.com. And my tagline on Instagram and also Facebook is Stoked Coach. That's STOKED Coach. And you can find me online, and I'll be doing a live training this March 31st at 10 a.m. on Facebook that actually is for discovering the 3 keys to activating a worthy mindset. So I'd love for anyone who's listening to join me, and you can register on my website or on Facebook.
And I might join you, Carolyn, because I now need a good mindset more than ever.
Excellent.
This coronavirus rocked my world as it did all over the place. But mindset is key, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode of Ask When, and I will see you later, you guys. Thanks to you guys. Bye.
You just listened to Ask When, the podcast. To become a guest in the show, visit our website at askwin.weebly.com or call 816-591-3399. Just look for Danielle. Connect with Win on Twitter at WinKellyCharles and like our Facebook page at Butterflies of Wisdom. You can also purchase Win's book through Amazon.com or get a copy of the audiobook through Audible. Ask Win, the podcast.